Hello to the chicos and the chicas. This is going to be a video about how to study chess, what sort of study plans you should come up with, how to support your learning the best possible way. This video is specifically dedicated to a very generous supporter of my YouTube channel. He is my GOAT. Wink, wink, you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, without further ado, I think the best thing I can tell you is let's jump right in and have a look at some practical examples and let's see what exactly I'm talking about. No, I'm joking. That's not what we are doing. I'm going to tell you something first. In my opinion, the best way to minimize effort and time and maximize outcome in chess improvement, the most important thing is to identify with occasionally brutal honesty what is not working, what is falling apart in your chess. And in my opinion, in the vast majority of cases, self-diagnosis almost exclusively fails. Self-diagnosis with the help of the engine still almost all the time is a complete fiasco. I'm not telling you this because I'm a chess coach and I want to drum up students. That's not my angle. My angle is that every single time I get a new student and I look at their games and I tell them that I see this, they go like, oh, I didn't think about that. And so there is this absolute shock effect that for the first time they hear it verbalized. It's not even what I am saying, it's just hearing it. Like, they don't tell that themselves and they don't hear it from anybody else. And so we constantly go back into the hamster wheel of practicing calculations, puzzles every day, a bit of opening review, a bit of theoretical endgames, and I will be golden. And that's what everybody is doing, and funnily enough, the results don't always follow. And I do not mean to suggest that you shouldn't do those things, but they need to be tailored a little bit at least to your weaknesses and to your strengths too, by the way, so that it becomes meaningful to you. Because learning is about you. You are learning differently from everybody else. And so your study material should be different than anybody else's too, at least marginally. So now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. 3 games. Our protagonist is in the white trunks, playing a rapid game. And this rapid game features the rubbish trick. We play d3. We then play bishop d2. We then play queen f3. And even without looking at the question marks, blunders, and all that, by now, I kind of lost it. Like, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Let's go back and take this whole game to complete beats. So, first question. Knight e4 takes. Actually, I have a brilliant idea. Because I don't want to distract you with the exclamation mark and the question marks, I'm going to start afresh. I will just do an analysis board. So knight e4, e d4, d3, bishop b4 check, and we play bishop d2. And my first instinctive question here to student, irrespective of the value of c3, would be, why are we trading pieces instead of playing c3, which immediately yields a tempo? And at this point, the answer that I would anticipate from student would be something along the lines of, I didn't want to trade off their double pawns. At which point I would be like, yeah, because who said double pawns were bad again? Right, nobody. That's correct. So right away, erase immediately that from scratch from their brain. There is already a false preconception that determines decisions in an appalling way. It determines that he's always going to think that, oh, double pawns, okay, we can't trade into that, we can't do that. And so it just absolutely ruins dynamic thinking, which is what c3 is all about, because it wins a tempo in a position where we are already significantly out of development. although it doesn't quite feel like it. Definitely not for student. So then there is another discussion here to be had, that actually, given that black needs to now move the bishop, it is then going to be our turn. I can continue developing. This bishop is still 2 moves away from developing. Mine is good to go. Their king is 2 moves away from castling. 3 if we consider the fact that it's my turn next turn. Mine is good to go. So the maths actually adds up. And it just grows out of proportions very quickly. And then we add an extra layer of this, which would be, oh, okay, so what does actually black do after take? Because we cannot stop a position when there is a piece hanging. That's not a good time to evaluate. So where does the bishop go? Remind me again. It just pulls back to a5. Oh, okay. So it turns out that we also do not have this notion of loose pieces drop off. And they are tactical sources, because here bishop takes f7, queen h5 wins on the spot, and queen h5 also wins on the spot. And then by now, I uncovered an entire world that this student didn't even know it existed. How on earth are you gonna practice something you don't even know it's there in the first place? This particular player has absolutely no notion of contrasting static features against dynamic features. They don't sense the tempo of the game, that in this position this bishop sticks out like a sore thumb, because it wasn't meant to come out in the first place. It already violated the very basic rule of knights before bishops, and it was meant to be knight f6. And this bishop here is just walking into trouble, and right now the best black move is potentially bishop f8. You heard that right, because bishop e7, I think, loses to queen h5, g6, queen d5. Oops. And again, this is dynamic, aggressive, I'm coming after you thinking. And this guy is still in the complete la-la land. Don't mean any disrespect of, whoa, double pawns, I'm not trading into that. It's like, it doesn't even feel like we're talking about the same game. It's checkers versus chess, right? So I'm already opening a mind to this marvelous world of dynamic, aggressive chess. Let me carry on. He then goes, knight e7, queen f3. And as soon as I see the move, I'm like, oh man, queen f3. What's the purpose? Develop the queen with a tempo on f7, and then I can castle either way. I'm like, right. And what's about the knight that wants to go to f3? And also, if that's the story, why on earth wouldn't you go to h5? Which is an ultimate square for the queen, especially with the knight on g6. King safety course will tell you a lot about this, by the way. Speaking of good learning materials, wink wink. And if castles, then I've got knight f3, knight g5, literal winning plan on the spot. Why are we stopping on f3, man, when we can go all the way to h5 and all of our existing pieces are participating in a vicious attack? It's actually already a double attack. It's a game-winning threat for all intents and purposes. And instead, we stick the queen on f3 because whatever. And after castles, we just got stuck. We didn't know what to do. We castled, they played, I don't remember the rest because I just copied it out. And eventually we went on to lose. And the engine is going to tell you that bishop d2 was garbage, but it's never going to tell you what I told you, that this guy has no concept of static features, dynamic features, messed up developing patterns, looking for punishment. None of this exists in this guy's realm of chess. Let me take a quick glance at the next one. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to look at the .com game review because I want to present the material completely intact. So this is how the game goes. e4, e5, d4, d5, knight c3, c5. Knight f3 after 10 seconds. Immediately, as a chess coach, I'm like, 10 seconds, mate. There are 2 different captures to be done in 2 different orders. Every single black pawn in the center is hanging. So what you are telling me is that you simply can't be bothered even questioning whether your opponent just simply blundered the pawn. Hello? Or you just don't think that pawn tensions deserve the attention, and we just go like, yeah, what? That's totally normal. When we actually know that it's not, because the main lines in the French after knight c3 are knight f6, bishop b4, and takes. c5 is not a move. We do not acknowledge the fact that we received an out-of-book move. We do not acknowledge the immense tension in the center. We do not acknowledge the fact that black is trying to blast the center open with zero development, which is almost certainly a death wish, and we don't calculate at all. I could spend an entire 1 hour lesson in completely taking apart all the faults and mistakes in their thinking and try to recode, rewire, redo the whole thing. That, mate, if this is happening, the very least you must do, and by the way, on every single move from here on out, as long as the tension exists, is that you calculate every pawn take in every move order. And if you don't do that, you're not part of this game. What are you doing? Why are we here? Like, this is your game. This game requires you. You have been challenged. And you go like, yeah, no worries. It's like, 1700, someone rocks up to you and go like, oh, you looked at my wife the wrong way. I challenge you to a duel. And you go like, oh, actually, I have to feed the cows. It's like, what are we going, man? Like, this, you're not part of the action. You must look at it and, be accountable. Like, have you looked at this? No. Well, then that's what we need to do. We need to actually own our own mistakes, faults, and go from there. You can easily say, if you check with the engine, it will tell you that it's a blunder because you could have taken, then check, and then take on c5. Check is just a precision move, but you could actually, for all intents and purposes, just take this, they take back, and then pick off this, or give check first and pick off. And for most, it would be like, oh, I just missed the day, be easy tactics, so let me go and do tactics. No. The reason why you didn't see it is it's because you didn't even calculate in the first place. You're not going to teach yourself the habit of when to actually calculate forcing lines by looking at puzzles. Puzzles will teach you how to calculate precisely and well, but they are not going to teach you that vitally important habit when something weird happens on the board, there is an awful lot of tension, and you go like, that doesn't look right. Let me have a look. Me saying these 4 words, 5, took longer than what this guy took on deciding what move to play next. Hello? And again, someone needs to say it exactly, well, not necessarily exactly, that's how I would do it. That's definitely not the only way, not even necessarily the best way to do it, but it certainly is a way to do it, to send a little wake-up call that, matey, that tension right there is the size of Mount Fuji. And you are ignoring it. That's not okay. We need to do something about this. The game continues knight f6. And the opponent plays, knight f3, Freudian slip, knight f6. Again, the tension is on. The position has drastically changed because a move, one on either side, has been added or have been added. So now it's a brand new situation. You must start calculating from scratch. Again, you calculate every capture, every sequence, every order. And again, you will find that after take, bishop b5 check, queen e2 check is very good, castles is brilliant. We are doing absolutely great here. No worries, ED is easily the best move here because now black is crumbling under the tension. Castles is what I would do, waiting for bishop e7, then take, and when they take, then we have got knight e5, we have got a check, and you can see that the pin, the king stuck in the middle, all these things, and the vulnerable IQP will add up to quite a bit of damage. Nope. We played bishop g5 almost instantly. Once again, completely oblivious to the tension. And also to the fact that black can also utilize attention. They took. We took back the wrong way with the knight. Queen takes knight c6, bishop b5 would have been better. It's not a biggie, I'm gonna skip that. And here we just assumed that we were doing great, where in fact after d, the immediate recapture already lands us in trouble. Because after the check, I find it difficult to find a good move to block the check, because e4 is hanging. If I withdraw the knight from c3, g5 is hanging. And if I play bishop d2, then queen e5 is pinning. I can guarantee you that not a single iota, an inch of any of these lines were considered. So what I will repeat myself now, but this is the last one when I'm saying this. This player needs to have a very serious talk with themselves about how they respond to tension on the chessboard. Their current response is ignorance. And again, the textbook exercise patterns of calculations, opening studies, endgame, theoretical endgames, endgame technique books, this book, that book, not gonna address it appropriately until we identify the problem. And then, even after that, it's actually not so easy to find the appropriate material that is good to use as practice material to fix the issue. Here, by the way, I would refer to, among many, Helston's opening strategy. Last example. Oh boy. Okay, so here we go. Alapin Sicilian. Already we should take note of the fact that white is kilometers ahead. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And for the third time, I'm going to restart, but just, yeah, bear with me. There we go. So, Alapin. d6 nonsense. Tuck, tuck. Knight f6. Knight c3. Opponent plays a6. Lord Almighty. We play knight f3. Great chess. Opponent plays b5. I am already itching like knockout blow. Let me deliver it. And I really want to play e5, breaking the center, hurting the opponent like mad. But unfortunately, after d, I can't retake d because the queen trade is on. So I play bishop d3, and that's what he does too. He plays bishop d3 in the game. At this point, if my opponent doesn't play e6, which is more or less the only move to kind of hold up this central push, I would be thinking that this game is over. Opponent plays bishop g4. All kinds of bad is written on this move with capital letters. Capital letters. First of all, it's an early pin on a knight that does absolutely nothing. It's completely in contrast with a6 b5, which suggested fianchetto. It brings the bishop out too soon, ignores the e5 threat. The list goes on forever, and most importantly, it completely ignored our announced threat after bishop d3, which was e5. What did we play here? Castles. Now, the reason why engine supported learning is one of the biggest pitfalls of chess is because the engine is not even going to call it a mistake. And I would have a very long and hard talk with student if this was the move played, because I'm like, hello, Chess Principles Reloaded, center, friend, e5. That's why you played bishop d3. Hello? D takes, knight d5, bishop e4, and you won a game of chess. That's it. End of story, please come again. No worries. Okay, what else? Take, knight d7, bishop e4, rook a7, bishop e3. This is what aggressive, healthy chess looks like. And after rook c7, there are a myriad of epic moves. My favorite winning sequence is a4 takes, queen takes, e6, and then bishop b6. But I'm just showing it to you because I want to show off. But let's rewind the tape. We played bishop d3 in a position where we already couldn't wait to pull the trigger on e5. We play bishop d3. Opponent plays the most irrelevant move under the sun. In fact, it's probably more harmful than useful at all. And then we just casually go like, I could hurt you a lot with e5, which was the move I prepared. But nah, let me just go and play safe first. So what this tells me as a coach, that this player has absolutely minimal desire understanding of aggression, when to, how to attack, very minimal understanding of central breaks, the nature of development, just a whole lot. Like the chess principle wise, we are probably 2 centuries behind where everything else is for our chess. And so again, a very honest and deep reflection on, mate, your opponent played 1, 2, like giving up the center free, 4 moves in the opening, which at the very best were shaky, dodgy, suboptimal. And yet we don't feel the need to absolutely demolish and destroy our opponent. That means that your chess is completely miswired. If you learned it this way, you learned it wrong. If you were taught this way, that's almost tragic. Because someone really needed to give you a wake-up call already that, hello, center, breakthrough, lead in development, loose pieces everywhere. What's happening? And then again, and not because I love it, actually that's exactly why. Again, if I had to assign material with this, then one of the things I would say would be handstand again. I would recommend my own courses too, by the way, but I don't want to, advertise myself, so I'm not going to go there. But that would be super helpful here too. And the two combined would provide good material. But again, uncovering these, I swear to God that this person has never been told anything I just said. And when they watch this video, and they will be like, oh my God, mate. And I'm not even saying I'm so great, because once again, I'm pretty sure that someone could word it and express it and explain it way better than I'm doing, but you get the gist. And if you guys, one of those adult improvers who also would like to go far in chess, and you have created yourself a very thorough, comprehensive study plan for 2024, if I wanted to be disrespectful, I would say rip it up. If I wanted to be more respectful, I would say put it aside for a little bit. Make your number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 priority game analysis, game analysis, game analysis, game analysis, game analysis. Then draw honest, very honest conclusions from these, which is not 5 games, it's 5 times repeating the same activity. It's at least 50 games. And then let's bring that sheet of paper back, which we are calling your study plan, and probably cross out about 80% of things on it and adjust to what you need to do first. And let's see how your chess is going to change in 2024. I'm hoping and certain it will change for the better. And I wish you the very best of luck with that, because every single one of you I want to help. And I just hope that I really did do that in this video. And it is really a good time now to call it off. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Thanks for the GOAT for supporting me. I hope you found it helpful. I will be back with the next soon. Please don't forget to sub, to like, to comment, and to super thank me. Bye.